Game of Thrones Season 8 starts tonight. This is the final season, and there are only 6 episodes to wrap up this series. So I thought it'd be fun in this video if I went through my predictions for Season 8 of Game of Thrones and go over who I think is going to actually take the Iron Throne and who's going to live and who will die. So I've compiled a list of 39 characters that are confirmed to be alive in Season 8. We might not see all of them, but I just figure it's worth a shot to go through all these characters and make predictions on who's going to live and who's going to die. So I've broken them all down into categories. I've got Dany's crew, Jon's crew, Cersei's crew, Night King's crew, some miscellaneous characters, and then also dragons and direwolves. In Daenerys' group, we have Daenerys Targaryen, Jorah Mormont, Tyrion Lannister, Missandei, Grey Worm, Varys, Theon Greyjoy, and Yara Greyjoy. So I'm going to jump right into who I think is actually going to take the Iron Throne in Game of Thrones Season 8. I think it will be Daenerys Targaryen. Jon Snow or Aegon Targaryen is the rightful king, but I think that Jon Snow is rather going to stay in Winterfell and be Warden of the North for Daenerys Targaryen, or he's going to rule by her side. I think she's going to be the queen and sit upon the Iron Throne. I don't think Daenerys is going to die, so I'm going to say that Daenerys is going to live. The next character we have here is Jorah Mormont. I think that Jorah Mormont is going to die at some point. I think that he is going to end up sacrificing himself for Daenerys in one last-ditch effort to get out of the friend zone. And I think that this is going to have a deep impact on Daenerys, that her longtime friend Jorah sacrificed himself for her and her cause. Tyrion Lannister, I believe, will survive, although there has been talk that Tyrion might turn against Daenerys. But through it all, I think Tyrion will end up living to the end of Season 8. Missandei is another character that I think will end up living, although I can't say the same for Grey Worm. I think Grey Worm will end up dying, and this will have a big impact on Missandei, but also help motivate her and Daenerys to fight off the White Walkers and take the Iron Throne from Cersei. I think Varys will end up dying as well. In the trailer, it has been shown that he is actually hiding in the crypts under Winterfell, and I think he is actually going to die in the Battle of Winterfell. I think a lot of characters are going to die in that episode. Theon Greyjoy, I believe, will survive. I think that his sister Yara will end up dying at the hands of their uncle Euron Greyjoy, and that Theon will be the ruler of the Iron Islands. And on to the next group, we have Jon Snow. I think that Jon Snow will survive. I don't think that they're going to go through the whole series just to kill him off towards the end. I think that basically our main characters like Daenerys and Jon will survive. And like I said, I think that Jon will become Warden of the North under Daenerys, or he will rule by her side. I don't think Jon will sit upon the Iron Throne himself. Arya Stark, I believe, will also survive. Arya is super resourceful and a talented swordswoman, so I think it's safe to say that Arya is probably going to make it, but I can't say the same for her sister Sansa. Sansa, I think, will die at some point. She just can't really protect herself like any of these other characters like Jon or Arya can. So I'm going to say that Sansa will die at some point. Bran Stark, the three-eyed raven, I think will end up surviving as well. He's kind of become the narrator and he knows everything. So I think he will live, but end up passing the three-eyed raven on to someone else. Davos Seaworth, I believe, will actually die at some point, right alongside Jon Snow in battle, either to the Night King or to the Lannisters. Brienne of Tarth, I believe, will survive as well. She's a great warrior, but I can't say the same thing for her friend Podrick. I think Podrick is going to end up dying as well, and this is going to inspire Brienne. I think that everyone is kind of going to have some sort of person that's going to be dear to them, that's going to end up dying and truly inspire them to fight. Samwell Tarly. I think that Sam will end up living. I don't think he's going to get much screen time, though. I feel like there's some characters here that are just kind of characters on the side that nobody's going to care that much if they live or die, and I feel like Sam is one of those characters. So I'm going to say Sam's going to live, but Sandor Clegane, or the Hound, I think he's definitely going to die. He's already almost died once, and I think they're going to finally kill him off in this final season. Tormund Giantsbane. I think he's actually going to end up with Brienne of Tarth. He really likes her, and I think they're both going to end up surviving and ending up together. Beric Dondarrion, I think he will end up dying as well. He doesn't have anybody to bring him back anymore, so now I think that he's going to end up dying in the Battle of Winterfell, and no one's going to bring him back. Melisandre could bring him back, and she says that she'll be coming back to Westeros at some point so she can die, and I think that she will end up dying in Westeros as well. Gendry will survive. He's basically the last Baratheon, and I think that he will end up surviving and carry on the House Baratheon, even though he is still a bastard. Now on to Queen Cersei. I think that Cersei Lannister will die. Queen Cersei and the Lannisters don't stand much of a chance against Daenerys and her 2 remaining dragons, as well as Jon Snow and the North, and I don't think that she will end up coming out of Season 8 still alive. She's the queen, and I don't think she'll give up the crown to Daenerys or anybody else while she still lives. Her brother Jaime will live as well. Jaime was seen riding a horse north as snow fell on King's Landing. He's most likely going to meet up with Jon Snow and Daenerys and help them fight the White Walkers, and then eventually come back to try and take King's Landing from Cersei. Euron Greyjoy will definitely die. I think that Theon Greyjoy will end up killing him. Theon will redeem himself, especially after jumping overboard when he could have saved his sister Yara. I think he will end up finally killing Euron and become the ruler of the Iron Islands. Gregor Clegane, or the Mountain, he will definitely die, just like his brother Sandor Clegane. They had a scene together in Season 7 where Sandor finally sees what Gregor looks like after he was fought Oberyn Martell. I think his brother Sandor Clegane is going to finally get revenge on Gregor and kill him. Bronn will end up living. He's going to finally see that Cersei can't defeat Daenerys or the Night King, and he's going to fight for the side of the living alongside Tyrion Lannister. Qyburn will end up living. He'll find a way to try and defeat Daenerys as well as the Night King and the Whites, and he will end up living in the end. The Night King himself, I think the Night King is eventually going to get defeated, but not until he wipes out quite a bit of Westeros. He's got his buddy Viserion on his side, or should I say underneath him as they fly around Westeros. And I think the Night King will eventually die, but it will be close to the end of Season 8. Viserion, I think, will die. I think there's going to be a battle between Drogon, Rhaegal, and Viserion. And I'll get to Drogon and Rhaegal in a little bit, but I think Viserion will die, and I think it's going to mirror Khal Drogo killing Viserys. So now let's talk about some of these random kind of miscellaneous characters that aren't really huge characters and don't mean a whole ton to the story, but are still in fact alive in Season 8. And we might see a return of some of these characters. Some of them might just be kind of forgotten, but we'll see. I'm still going to make predictions on all these. First, we have Gilly. I think Gilly is going to die, and once again, it's going to inspire Sam, but baby Sam will survive, and that Sam will raise baby Sam as his son. Robin Arryn is still alive, but I don't think it's going to stay that way for long. Robin is not a great warrior in the slightest, and I think that Robin is going to be one of the first characters that will die. Edmure Tully is a character we haven't really seen a whole ton in the show recently, and I think that he will actually end up living, and he will be there for Jon Snow and Daenerys. Jaqen H'ghar is still alive, technically, although he hasn't been in the show for a while. He's still alive, and I don't think he will actually, in fact, make a return into Season 8 and play any role in it. So I'm just going to say he's going to live, but I don't think the show is going to give any attention to him whatsoever. I think he's just going to be a character still alive off screen at the end of the series. Meera Reed is another one of those characters, and just like Jaqen, I think that she will still live, but we're not actually going to hear anything about her. She's just going to be, no confirmation that she's alive or dead, but, it's presumed that she'll still be alive. And now on to the dragons and direwolves. So there are 2 direwolves still alive, Ghost and Nymeria. Ghost is Jon Snow's direwolf. I think that Ghost will end up dying, or at least turning into like a white. Maybe Ghost could die trying to save Jon Snow. The showrunners are going to pull a fast one on us and make it seem like Jon Snow is going to die, but then Ghost is going to come in at the last second and end up dying instead. Nymeria could return. We haven't seen her in a while, but we finally got a glimpse of her in a recent season. But I think she will return, and I think she will die. If Ghost doesn't die protecting Jon Snow, I think Nymeria will definitely die protecting Arya. People working on the show have said that the reason why Ghost wasn't in the Battle of the Bastards was because it was too expensive to either have the giant or a direwolf, so they decided to go with the giant. So that's why Ghost kind of just sat that one out. But now with Season 8, they have a much bigger budget, so I think we're finally going to see what happens with Ghost and Nymeria. And with that bigger budget, should give more screen time to Drogon and Rhaegal. Drogon will live, but not after a massive fight with Viserion, and his brother Rhaegal will end up dying. I think it's going to take both Drogon and Rhaegal to take down Viserion, and I think at the end of it, Rhaegal will die. So that is my Season 8 predictions for who will live and who will die in Game of Thrones. Episode 1 starts tonight, so we can immediately see if my predictions are going to be right or wrong. Let me know what you guys' predictions are in the comments down below. once we get to the end of the series, we're gonna have to do something to see if like my predictions were right or not, and kind of go over it again. But there you guys go. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know your guys' thoughts on all this in the comments down below. Who do you think will end up living and dying in Game of Thrones Season 8, as well as who will finally end up on the Iron Throne? Are you Team Daenerys? Are you Team Jon? Are you Team Cersei? Or you're on the team of the Night King and the White Walkers? Let me know in the comments down below. And we'll see you guys in the next video.